Update. I've stopped nagging my husband and I'm happier. Original post. I want to start off by saying this is not one of those just shut up and stay silent types of things. I have stopped nagging my husband, and I can say from the bottom of my heart that I am so much happier. My husband has always told me that I overreact too much, that I get too worked up, and that I am constantly nagging him. We fight constantly about him not putting enough effort into our relationship and him not doing his fair share of chores. I have to constantly remind him to be romantic, affectionate, and to pick up after himself. I will say that yes, I am a very emotional person. I grew up like that and have always expressed my emotions and feelings with passion. When I am upset, I am very clear as to why and how it can be resolved. Thanks, Mom. Recently, something very big happened. I was pregnant for about 5 weeks and lost the pregnancy. Being the emotional person I am, I was very sad, sulking, and crying a lot. I was looking for comfort in my husband, as one does, but there was none. This is how he is. He says, I'm not very emotional and showing emotions is hard. Okay, I never blamed him for this. Trauma, childhood, whatever. I will admit that yes, I was giving him a hard time and being extra clingy. He does not like to cuddle or any mushy stuff. He doesn't mind when I give it, he just doesn't like to reciprocate. Again, I never blamed him. I wanted more love and support than I usually get from him, which is little to none. I am usually the nurturing, loving, supportive one in our relationship. It has only really bothered me in big situations like this where I truly need support, love, or any sort of comfort. Once I realized I would find absolutely no comfort or support in my husband, I cried the entire night and stayed up replaying every instance where I had absolutely needed him and his support. Then something clicked, something shifted. I shouldn't give if I don't receive, so I stopped. Everything, love, support, nurturing, any physical intimacy, kissing, cuddling, etc. I stopped telling him what needed to be done. I stopped asking for romance. I stopped nagging, as he would say. Once I did this, he immediately noticed. When he's at work, I usually give him updates about our 1-year-old and call to check in. Once he's home, I usually greet him with love and support from the workday. I usually listen to his long rants about his hobbies. This time, I did nothing. I usually give him head rubs and back scratches at night. I usually tell him he's so handsome and how much I absolutely adore him about 100 times a day. Again, I'm very passionate. Nothing. I'm usually on him about work assignments. What needs to be done around the house, what I need help with, how to manage our baby once he's home, telling him to pick up after himself, telling him to be romantic back, and asking him to reassure me. Nothing. It's been about a week and my mental health has gotten so much better. I feel like when I had to manage 2 toddlers, now I only have to manage 1. I have more free time to myself. I don't ask or listen to him about his day. I don't worry about him like I usually do. I pick up after my babies and my own messes only. I don't have nearly as much to manage as I used to, and I feel so free. On the other hand, he is constantly asking me what's wrong. He's constantly checking in with me. He's doing all the things I usually would beg him for. He's being more physically intimate, although I'm the one rejecting now. He has asked on multiple occasions if I have fallen out of love with him. He's even tried apologizing for the way he has acted in the past, telling me he knows he took me for granted, even trying to give me the support I needed in those first initial days when I begged for it. I'll have you glad to hear, or maybe not, that I am absolutely not reciprocating or forgiving this so easily, and I have no intentions of stopping. I don't even know if I ever want to. I feel so happy, like a weight has lifted off my shoulders. I don't care if it makes me a bad person. I like that he is now feeling and carrying the weight that I carried for so long. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. You say I've stopped nagging, but it feels more like you've emotionally checked out. Yeah, she's emotionally gone. And once she checks back in, he's going to stop all of his effort. This marriage is doomed. OP, you deserve so much better. So he was always aware of what it took to be a good partner to you, and was always capable of it. But you needing his support wasn't a good enough reason for any of that effort. Him no longer getting yours is. He doesn't care about your experience of life, only his. Honestly, I have been contemplating and thinking about this a lot. He has always been completely capable, but it took me being emotionally checked out from him for him to start. I agree and think you are absolutely correct that he doesn't care about my experiences in life, especially the ones where his support is needed. To be honest, I think you need a divorce. Sorry. This is the obvious answer. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it will be hard to divorce right away. Edit/mini update. As many of you have suggested, a deep conversation is needed. Many of you have suggested couples therapy, which I will not be initiating. I'm no longer putting in the work for our relationship to function, so this will be entirely on him if he wants it to work. I will update you on how the conversation goes, although I know very well it will not be taken seriously and will likely get shut down completely. Divorce is absolutely on my mind and something I currently want. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it's a long and hard process. Lastly, thank you all for the love and support during this difficult time. It sucks that I find it from strangers on the internet and not the person I married, but truly, I express my gratitude. Now for the full update. A few commenters have asked for an update, and after many discussions with my husband, I have a sufficient one to give you all. Over the last few days since I posted, a lot has happened. First and foremost, the day after I posted, my husband and I had a serious one-on-one talk. I started by telling him that I wanted a divorce, as his lack of basically everything in our marriage from the very beginning has finally caught up with me. I told him I am completely and utterly exhausted and have absolutely zero energy left to fight for our relationship anymore. His response was something I did not expect. I initially thought he would shut me down and take it as unserious, so I was planning to proceed with a divorce. But to my surprise, he broke down in tears. It completely blew my mind. I've only seen him cry a handful of times, usually when recounting his childhood. Anyway, he took full accountability, telling me he knows his lack of emotions and support has affected our relationship and me deeply, and that he wants to change. I told him I still wanted a divorce even if he did change. I explained how he could have always acted this way with me. It just took me completely shutting down for him to start. He said that because I gave him the same treatment he's been giving me these past few years, he finally realized how it feels to be in my position. He finally understood how I felt all this time. This was a 2-hour conversation. The next day we talked more, and at this point my mind was still made up about divorcing. I still can't understand how someone can be told how their actions make someone feel, yet the only way they comprehend it is when it's done to them. Anyway, after another day of talking, he said he wants to get couples counseling, and he has joined a 26-week course on how to compromise in marriage. I still made it clear that I want a divorce. I can't shake the feeling that I had to give him his own medicine for him to understand. He continued pleading for one last chance, promising to do better. I told him I want lasting change, something built on a solid foundation, not just a few days of improvement followed by things going back to normal once I'm invested again. As many of you have said, I really want to avoid that at all costs. I don't plan on being invested in our marriage at all from this point until there's genuine change and until we can talk to a couples therapist. I have also told him this directly. I will not be giving any more than I have received over these past few years. As many of you have pointed out, I carry 100% of the emotional, physical, and mental load of our relationship and household. From now on, I will only be putting that energy into my baby. I have also joined a support group for wives, which starts in the middle of March. I also joined a new parent support program where a worker comes in and gives parenting advice and guidance to new parents, something my husband will participate in as well. So a lot has happened in the past 4 days. Again, divorce is still on the table for me. I want to see real change, not BS. I want someone who cares when important things happen to me. I am not forgiving him, nor am I forgetting. I am just riding this wave, and this is the last leg I stand on. If therapy doesn't work and set him straight, my baby and I are gone. I hope my update satisfies you all. It's been an absolute roller coaster of emotions. Thank you again for the support. Apologies for any spelling or grammatical errors. I'm juggling a few things right now. I think you should still go talk to a lawyer. Get advice on how to get all your ducks in a row for the divorce. Will do. I have a plan set already for the day he may or may not slip up. I gave my ex 6 months to show me that he wanted the marriage when I had my "I'm done" moment. I figured it changed nothing, other than giving me more time to put money away and sort out my situation. He lasted 3 months before making a selfish, bone-headed move, and I ended it there. Probation over, done and done. Best day of my life. And I had 3 more months of money, therapy, and planning under my belt. OP, put a time limit on it and make clear the behavior you will never accept again. If he can't or won't change when his feet are literally in the fire, get out and don't waste more time. The only thing I regret is not ending it sooner. Next story. I have spent the best Christmas of my life since I got married, and it's making my husband panicky. I am 5 months pregnant. When I found out about my pregnancy, my husband's nephew punched me hard in the stomach. My sister-in-law said it was a phase, but then Christmas came and my mother-in-law called to say the phase was still going on. Since they didn't want any accidents, she said I should stay home this time. My husband, to my surprise, started packing on the 21st. "Oh, you wanted me to stay?" he said, correctly misinterpreting my facial expression. I stood silent and then said, "No, you can go." He smiled sheepishly. My work colleague, an unmarried older lady, suggested we could do something together, so I spent Christmas with her. I don't remember the last time I was this happy during the holidays. I don't have a family, and my husband's was the only one I knew. For the last 15 years, I have endured my passive-aggressive alcoholic father-in-law, my pretentious mother-in-law, and my golden child sister-in-law, who peaked in high school and married the jock. I slept in, stayed home, and ate whatever I wanted without anyone commenting on my body. There were no rants about how some minorities ruined it for the rest, followed by, "But of course you are one of the good ones." And there was no latest comment like, "I don't think your baby will have blue eyes," as if I cared or didn't understand basic biology. There was no waking up at 7 a.m., and if you missed meal hours, you had to wait for the next meal because it was disrespectful not to be on time. There was no being forced to cook weird food from my home country, so they could sniff it, wrinkle their noses, and call it interesting. Most of all, I didn't have my husband by my side being anxious the entire stay, not wanting to rock the boat, trying to soften the blows, and explain that they didn't really mean any of it. When he got home, he was anxious, seeing me very happy, as opposed to the usual crying all the way home from his parents, made him even more anxious. I told him I was fine and that I had a great time. He started panicking. He apologized and said that, in hindsight, maybe he should have stayed home with me instead. But then he wouldn't have celebrated Christmas with his family, and they would definitely have been disappointed. I said nothing and just looked at his anxious face, probably with a frown that made him even more anxious. "Everything is fine," I said again. Now I guess I understand why he is panicking. Why have I let this go on for so long? My colleague is also a lonely woman with no family, but she is so much happier than I have been in many years. I have been thinking about this newfound freedom in loneliness since Christmas, and I guess my husband is sensing it. Sounds like you got that taste of freedom and husband is panicking because he knows you'll probably leave and will absolutely be better off without him and his toxic family. Absolutely this. Your husband seems traumatized by his own family, constantly anxious about being put in the middle and having difficulty navigating the situation and being fully on your side. Was he the mediator of the family? Does he show people-pleasing tendencies otherwise? I think he is very scared you will leave him, and you are probably the only good thing he has. The others are his toxic family that he cannot shake. You two should talk openly. Definitely go low to no contact with the family if your marriage is to have any chance of a happy future. He should get therapy to loosen the enmeshment with his family. And if he is not open to that or resists, I also think you might be better off on your own. Good luck to you. He is the black sheep of his family, that's for sure. That's why I have been patient and understanding, because I know the feeling of neglect and not being someone's priority. But my patience is running out fast with the upcoming arrival of my baby. I suddenly have more important matters to be understanding about. My baby has not chosen to be born. I already feel a lot of pain for them. I will be honest, I have been contemplating leaving my marriage, even though I love my husband very deeply, especially after I realized how good it felt to spend the holidays on my own terms. But then I thought divorce means I would have no control over my child's exposure to his extended family. I can't have that on my conscience. I can't have them have access to my child whenever it is his custody time. I believe that staying is my best option, especially since I have a lot of love for the father of my child, and I guess he loves me too in his own way. So yes, to answer those who said Christmas was 2 months ago, these have been my thoughts throughout these past couple of months, or really since I found out that I was pregnant. Last story, my family forgot my birthday, so I bought a massage chair. Now my husband says I am wasting money. I am in my mid-40s, and honestly, I don't even know who I am anymore. Maybe it is perimenopause, or maybe it is just the weight of 20 years of resentment piling up. But I am just so tired of being tired. I have 2 sons who still depend on me for literally everything. I work full-time, but as soon as I clock out, the second shift of housework starts immediately. My husband acts like a guest in a hotel. He does nothing around the house and seems to think I am just supposed to handle it all. Last week was my birthday. Not a single person in this house remembered. No card, no cake. I was standing there folding their laundry while they watched TV, and nobody said a word. I just snapped. For the first time in years, I did something just for me. I ordered a Bob and Brad massage chair. I have been eyeing one for my back pain forever, but always put it off. I just wanted a place to disappear for 20 minutes a day, where I did not have to be a mom or a wife, just a human being who needs to breathe. When it arrived, instead of saying sorry for forgetting my birthday, my husband picked a massive fight. He called me selfish and said I was wasting money on useless gadgets. It is heartbreaking. I have carried this family for 20 years, but the moment I try to take care of myself, I am the villain. I am just done. Stop doing anything around the house or for their birthdays or Christmas or literally anything. Just go to work and come home to a beautiful massage because that chair loves you more than your scrappy family does. Tell your husband that it would have been cheaper for him to buy you some flowers and take you to dinner, but hey, at least the chair gives you more pleasure than he has in years. Add up all the things your husband has failed you on, and you'll see who the selfish one really is. I agree. Time to go on strike. Then it's time to have a family meeting to split up the responsibilities. Maybe something like, if you dirty a dish, you wash it. Everyone can take care of their own laundry. And for the rest, here's a chore chart. You do not have to be a maid. You do have to take care of yourself and prepare your offspring to survive outside your home. If they figure it out, well and good. They won't be unbearable heathens when they live with other people. Update. I am honestly overwhelmed by the comments. I have been sitting here crying because I finally feel validated. My husband is currently giving me the silent treatment, but for the first time in a long time, my back doesn't hurt, and I actually feel a little bit of peace. I am going to focus on myself for a while. Thank you all for listening.